How's it going, everyone? Marriland here. As of today in Japan, Pokemon is officially 20 years old. And to celebrate, a special Pokemon Direct stream was aired today all around the world, unveiling what's coming up in the main series of Pokemon games. Nope, not that. Warmer? Really? They're actually kinda close. That's right, Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon are now officially confirmed. These two games were revealed live on the Pokemon Direct stream to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. There were no gameplay trailers for the game, unfortunately, so there's not much to show, but there are a few points from the announcement and subsequent press release that are worth talking about. Here's a look at some of the concept art in the trailer video. I'll take a closer look at that in a little bit, but first, though it's not surprising, it was confirmed that Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon will be compatible with Pokemon Bank. Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that. You know, they kind of mentioned that. But the truly surprising fact is that Pokemon from the Virtual Console releases of Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green can be stored in Pokemon Bank later on, and even transferred to Pokemon Sun and Moon. Yes, that's right. You can actually go from Generation 1 all the way to Generation 7. Yeah, I said Generation 7, you heard me. I'll get to that in a moment though. Since the Pokemon in Generation 1 use an entirely different data structure than the Pokemon in newer generations, how these transfers will work is rather perplexing. In Generation 1, effort values, or EVs, were not really a thing. You had a similar mechanic referred to as stat experience, and each stat could effectively be maxed out to the equivalent of 255 effort values, or, more or less. IVs, or individual values, were referred to as DVs back then, determinant values, and ranged from 0 to 15 rather than 0 to 31 for each stat. There weren't genders or separate special attack and special defense stats in Gen 1, but this was addressed in Gen 2, where these were figured out when trading Pokemon over. However, since then, things like abilities and hidden personality values were added, so how these will work for Gen 1 Pokemon being transferred to Gen 7 is a mystery, but it's neat to hear that it will be a possibility. Okay, yes, I said it again. Gen 7, Generation 7. People have been saying that it's way too soon for a new generation. People have also said that they thought there might be a Generation 6.5. Gameplay has not been shown, so we can't use that as a reference. However, let's take a look at what we do know. As shown in the announcement, and also on the official website, Pokemon Sun and Moon are for the Nintendo 3DS family. This means they are compatible with all 3DS systems. It's not new 3DS exclusive. It's not for the Nintendo NX or whatever ends up being. It's not for the Wii U. It's for the 3DS like the other Generation 6 games. I will say that that's +1 in the Generation 6 corner. But that's where it ends. The official site mentions the next era of Pokemon games and a new world, new Pokemon, and new adventures to discover. Sounds like a new generation to me. +1 for Generation 7. However, it's the Pokemon Bank page that makes the most compelling argument. Major updates are planned for Pokemon Bank to work with Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. More stuff about the Virtual Console games, more stuff, and then Pokemon from Pokemon Omega Ruby, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Y can also be brought into Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon in the same way. Although it may not be a one-way transfer, as evident by reading the rest of the page, it does sound like it's a different process than it is for X and Y and Oras. Either way, that's a +1 in the Generation 7 corner. There's also the fact that there are entirely new Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that every single time there have been completely new Pokemon introduced and playable, not just new forms, but new Pokemon altogether, that it's been an entirely new generation. In a way, Oras were sort of Gen 6.5, because they introduced moves and forms that were completely incompatible with X and Y, unlike all previous games where you could still battle with older games and it just wouldn't show the new forms. I mean, we all think of it as Gen 6 for the most part, but if you're thinking Gen 6.5, doesn't that kind of fit the criteria? And, you know, if you can't even trade back any of the Pokemon, I think you'll be able to, but I don't know, it just seems more like Generation 7 if you're adding new Pokemon altogether, not even new Mega Evolutions, not like new items, but like new Pokemon. That just seems to fit calling it Generation 7 if that's the case. Only 2 new Pokemon are known for Pokemon Sun and Moon, not counting Zygarde's new forms that are now residing in a small cardboard box labeled Pokemon Z. Those 2 Pokemon are Magearna, which was revealed earlier in February, and Fletchling. Wait, no, Wireframe Fletchling. Wait, no, that's not Fletchling, is it? That's, what is that? It's a bird, and at first glance I thought it was Fletchling, but upon closer investigation, it's pretty clearly something new. I'm not going to talk about that any further though, because that's definitely entering the speculation zone. What I do want to talk about is probably the most important part of the whole announcement. Look at all those trucks! Trucks! There are literally trucks everywhere! You got trucks with people in them. You got trucks carrying Blastoids in the back, ready to hose some people. You got trucks with portable Pokemon centers in the back. You got white trucks, red trucks, beige trucks. Like, there are literally trucks everywhere! Half of the new Pokemon will probably be trucks. Or birds. But mostly trucks! There's also a hotel thing that people are saying is from Singapore, which may or may not be the case, but there are trucks! There's also a flippin' Wobbuffet in that back truck, yo! Check that thing!